Recording in progress.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the Shire of 2J Ordinary Council meeting of the 27th of November 2025. As we begin, I acknowledge the Ballardong Noongar people, the traditional custodians of the land where we meet today, and the Yuin and Wadjuk people, custodians of lands within the other lands in the Shire of 2J. And I acknowledge their elders past and present. We have in attendance in the chamber at the moment Councillor Prater, Councillor Mills, Councillor Madachi, Councillor Devell, Councillor van der Hayden and myself, Councillor McEwen. And we have an apology for being a little bit late from Councillor McCormick. We also have the 4 executive managers and the governance coordinator here with us, and an apology from our CEO, Mr Bowman, who will not be joining us today. We have some disclosures of interest under item 3. There are quite a few. Do we need to get the particular councillors to read these out? No. Okay, so I'll just go through them. We have an impartiality disclosure. No, hang on, let me just get sure I got the right one. A proximity interest from Councillor Prater in regard to item 10.1.2. That item refers to his next door neighbour. We have an impartiality declaration from Councillor Mills regarding item 10.2.2, which is to do with the RSL, and Mr Mills is a financial member of the RSL. We have an impartiality statement, declaration from Councillor Prater regarding item 10.3.1, Community Citizens of the Year. He knows some of the nominees. That same item, I have an impartiality declaration because I'm acquainted with some of the nominees, and that same item, Councillor Devell has an impartiality declaration because Councillor Devell knows some of the nominees. We have a financial interest declaration from Councillor Madachi regarding item 11.2, request for financial support for the 2J Community Garden. No? Oh no, sorry. Yeah, could you remind me, Councillor? For the application for financial support for continuing professional development. Yeah, sorry about that. I had the item number right, but the thing wrong. So that's Councillor Madachi's, and I think that's everyone. Did I miss anybody? No. I think nearly everybody got a mention there. So. Thanks, councillors. The next item on the agenda is public question time. Mr Hefferon.
Can you hear me? Right. And importantly, online, can you hear me? Look, thanks, Shire President. I've got my questions, 5 questions in total. The first to do with the Shire of 2J plan for the future. One of the plan's objectives at 2.2.2, page 20 of the plan, is to advocate for service providers to expand mental health services to young people. This action was to have started in 23-24 and run through to 26-27. How is it progressing?
Thank you, Mr Hefferon. The council plan is a plan, and advocacy occurs as opportunities arise.
Thank you, Shire President. Likewise, at 4.1.1, page 26 of the plan, the Shire committed to advocate for state government funding for targeted initiatives such as revegetation projects and microgrids to reduce the Shire's carbon footprint. How is that action progressing? Yep,
thank you. Once again, I just remind everybody that the council plan is a plan, but I am not aware of any actions taken about this matter. Keep going, Mr Heffron.
Sure. The next question relates to the Batty Pass project. This question relates to the updated Amendment 1 to Local Planning Scheme number 5. As the project area is now mainly to be zoned R30, what is the minimum number of lots the Shire of 2J expects to create and what is called the Batty Pass project?
Exec Manager.
Up to 50 lots as required as per the previous funding application that was submitted and subsequently approved.
Thank you. On to bridges. By what date does the Shire expect to reopen the Newcastle Park footbridge, which could be imminent, perhaps?
Yeah, good question. This is a work in progress, and the Shire will keep the community informed of progress and the date of opening.
My final question. Main Roads WA has advised the Shire that the Dumbarton Bridge has exceeded service life. Apart from that bridge, and presumably Slaughterhouse Bridge, are there any other bridges in the Shire that have passed their service life? If so, how many and which ones?
Exec Manager.
There are no other bridges. Main Roads haven't advised us of any.
Right, thank you.
Is the end of question time. So we move on to approved leave of absence. And Councillor Devell has submitted a leave of absence, and the request is that Councillor Devell has requested leave of absence from the 17th of December 2025 to the 19th of December 2025 inclusive, and from the 4th of February 2026 to the 6th of February 2026 inclusive. Have I got that right, Councillor? So do I have a mover for that? Councillor Mills, seconder. Councillor van der Heyden. Do I have any objections? I'll declare that carried. Item 6.1, the minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 30th of October 2025. The recommendation from the officer is that the unconfirmed minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 30th of October 2025 be confirmed. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Devell, seconder. Councillor Mills. Do we have any objections? Declare that carried. I don't think we have any petitions, presentations or submissions or business from the previous meeting. I do have some announcements from the presiding member, which is item 9. Since the last ordinary council meeting, the Shire President undertook these activities. Thursday, the 6th of November, I chaired a meeting of the Bushfire Advisory Committee. Sunday, the 9th of November, I attended the 2025 Avon Valley Business Awards at a function held at Buckland Estate, Irish Town. On Tuesday, the 11th of November, I attended the RSL's 2025 Remembrance Day ceremony at Anzac Park 2J and laid a wreath on behalf of the Shire of 2J. On Wednesday, the 12th of November, I attended the Seniors Week showcase held at the 2J Recreation Centre. On Saturday, the 15th of November, I attended and opened the 2025 Double Barrel Rodeo at the 2J Race Club. On Monday, the 17th of November, I attended and chaired a meeting of the Avon Region of Councils held at the 2J Council Chambers. On Thursday, the 20th of November, I chaired a Shire of 2J agenda briefing. On Friday, the 21st of November, by Zoom, I attended a meeting of the Avon Midland, I think it's called the Avon Midland Country Zone. On Friday, the 21st of November, I presided at a citizenship ceremony at the 2J Council Chambers and welcomed 2 new citizens to Australia. And I've just noticed that I didn't mention that on Tuesday, the 4th of November, I attended with the Shire Deputy President the Melbourne Cup representing the Shire of 2J as a guest of the Victoria Race Club in Melbourne. I've got a bit more to say. At the Avon Valley Business Awards, Rome Distillery of Moringup won 3 awards: Excellence in Tourism and Hospitality, Best Startup Business, and excellence in environmental sustainability. So that was 3 awards. Sarah and Shay are to be congratulated on their success, and the Shire of 2J was pleased to be able to be a sponsor of these awards. The first rodeo at the 2J Racecourse was held in the middle of the month. The event was organised by Double Barrel Entertainment and was made possible by the 2J Race Club, who had created a rodeo arena for the event. A crowd of over 4,000 attended the rodeo held on Saturday, and many of those also spent Friday and Saturday nights in 2J at the racecourse and elsewhere in the Shire. Congratulations go to Steve Ferguson and all the race club members and friends who contributed time, materials, skills and effort to make the event possible. On Friday the 21st of November, the Shire received a donation of $8,000 for the Elmer Beard Centre. The donation came from a generous donor who wishes to remain anonymous. The donor has expressed a specific wish that the first $1,000 of this donation be allocated to assist any individual, including veterans, who may require minor surgical procedures, such as cancer-related removals or mole excisions, and who might be experiencing financial hardship or lack access to timely treatment. The Shire is liaising with the Medical Centre on the best use of the other $7,000 for the broader community benefit. So on behalf of the Shire and our community, I thank this anonymous donor. The Shire entered the prohibited fire season on the 1st of November, and since then our volunteer bushfire brigades have responded to 8 call-outs for 3 stand-downs and 5 fires extinguished. So just remind everybody, when working outside at this time of the year, everyone is implored to take care to make sure that no fires are inadvertently started and to take precautions to be able to extinguish any fire that may occur. So the first substantive motion for discussion is item 10.1.1, consent to advertise the revised local planning policy 2 ancillary dwellings. Now, I've been advised that attachment 2 provided to councillors and to the public, as issued with the agenda, was the incorrect version of that amended policy. So I suggest we defer this item to the next meeting, and I'll move to do that. You'll second that, councillor, is it? So moved Councillor McEwen, seconded Councillor Madachi. Are there any objections to that? Okay, thank you. Item 10.1.2, application for an outbuilding at 80 Harvester Drive 2J. And I think we have an alternative motion from... Oh, sorry, yes. Councillor Prater's leaving the room at 5:43. Councillor Devell, if you'd like to state your alternative motion.
Thank
and
you.
Perhaps move it, yes.
Yes, I'll move that council approves the application received for an outstanding outbuilding at 80 Harvester Drive. I'm sure it will be outstanding. 2J with a ridge height of 5.25 metres. My reasoning is that the screening is not warranted, as the closest neighbouring house is 280 odd metres away, and the ridge height will not detract from the amenity, and also no objections were received during the advertising period.
So you've moved that. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Madachi. Do I have any objections? I declare that carried. Item 10.1.3.
Councillor Prater needs to come.
Oh yeah, sorry. We could leave him out there. Yeah, that's right. So Councillor Prater is re-entering the chambers at 5:45. Item 10.1.3, application for outbuilding at 62 Chellian Lane, Hoddeswell. The officer's recommendation is that council approves an application for an outbuilding at 62 Chellian Lane, Hoddeswell, with a ridge height of 6.072 metres, subject to the following condition. A, the planting of vegetative screening is required to the satisfaction of the Shire. Sorry, Councillor.
I'd like to move that with an amendment. Can I move an amendment to that?
Okay, so we will need it to be moved and seconded, then you can propose an amendment. You
Okay.
move it, Councillor? Councillor Madachi, you can second it, Councillor
Yes,
DeBell?
I'll second that.
And you wish to propose an
I'd like
amendment?
to propose an amendment. The amendment simply being that the requirement of the planting of the vegetative screening is removed. So the motion would then read, council approves an application for an outbuilding at 62 Chellian Lane, Hoddeswell, with a ridge height of 6.072 metres.
You'll move that amendment.
Yep.
Do I have a seconder for the amendment? Okay, Councillor Mills. Do I have any objection to the amendment? You object? Councillor Madachi has objected to the amendment, so we welcome Councillor McCormick to the chambers at 5:46. So we're discussing the amendment now. It's been moved by Councillor DeVal. It's been objected to. Councillor DeVal, would you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you. So the reason I've moved this amendment is that I don't believe the screening is warranted. The closest neighbouring house is over half a kilometre away. So I don't believe the ridge height will detract from the amenity of that neighbour. Other neighbours are further away and over a rise, and also advertising for neighbour comment by the officers was deemed not necessary due to the large distances to the neighbours, and the location within the lot more than exceeds the minimum setbacks for a rural zone. So I just feel that putting the necessary requirement of screening when the building is probably not impacting anyone is probably unnecessary.
Thank you. Councillor Madachi, you speak against?
Very little to say on this. I largely agree with most of what Councillor DeVal has said. However, the topography of the land does make it quite visible from the neighbouring property, and in that case I feel it could impact on the ambience they have with their property. Although in the distance it may not be quite as noticeable, it still is quite a bit over the recommended height, and it is quite visible.
I have a question. Will the screening be required to completely screen the shed at the 6.072 metre height?
Through the chair, the proposed screening that the applicant has agreed to will partially obscure the shed. The whole point of the screening is to detract from...
That's okay. That's all I need to know. Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak for? Councillor Prater?
I just want to, Councillor DeVal, that's exactly how I feel on this screening of it. We're over a distance, we're looking, I think it's 1.2 metres higher, is that right? 1.2 metres. So, you know, about over a distance like that. I mean, I could understand if it was right next door in town, but over a distance, over hundreds of yards, it's doesn't sound right to me.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak against?
I've just got a question. Could you just refresh me on the distance again?
Exec
Distance
Manager?
to the neighbour, the closest neighbour, the closest house is over half a kilometre.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak against? Anybody else want to speak for? Councillor Deval, do you want to make any rebuttal of anything Councillor Badachi said?
Yeah, look, I took a drive out there to double check what I was thinking about it and the topography, and I just don't think that there's going to be much impact on the neighbours over that distance.
Okay. So we're talking about the amendment now, and we've had speakers for or against, so I'm going to put the amendment. So the amendment is that all the words after metres be deleted from the motion. So all those in favour of the amendment? Councillor Prater, Councillor Mills, Councillor McCormick, Councillor Deval, Councillor van der Heyden and Councillor McEwen. And those against? Councillor Badachi. So we'll now move back to the officers, or to the amended recommendation, is that council approves an application for an outbuilding at 62 Challion Lane, Hoddeswell, with a ridge height of 6.072 metres. It's now an amended motion. It's been moved by Councillor Badachi, seconded by Councillor Deval. Do I have any objections to the amended motion? No, so I'll declare that carried. Item 10.2.1, a request for rates exemption from the St John Ambulance for their property. And the officer's recommendation is that council approves a 50% rates concession for the 2025-26 year for assessment A3020 for 120AC Stirling Terrace, 2J under section 647 of the Local Government Act. So that's the officer's recommendation. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Deval, seconded Councillor Badachi. Do I have any objections?
I have a question.
Yeah, you can have a question, yeah.
Look, who actually pays the rates for this property? Is it St John's WA or is it 2J St John's?
Don't know. Anyway, whoever's paying it will get a 50% reduction now.
Well,
So we've already passed it. Yeah, no, I'm not sure why that's a factor. Okay.
and we'll wait. Can we go to debate now?
Well, you seconded it. Okay. So does anybody object to this? You're objecting to it?
That is good, yes.
Okay. Councillor Deval, do you wish to speak in favour?
Other than to say I think that no matter who's paying for it, it's a very good service that we have, and I support the rates concession.
Councillor Badachi, do you wish to speak against?
Yes. I think who pays for the rates is... Sorry. Who pays for the rates is quite important. We make concessions for the RSL. We have our fire brigades who don't pay rates. It's St John's, which supports a very valuable service in the town, only has a 50% reduction. Now, if it's 2J St John's that is actually paying the rates, I believe they should have a total rate exemption. If it's St John's WA, then I support the 50%. So I really needed to know, is it our local people who do all the fundraising and undertake all the volunteering who are paying the balance of the rates?
See, Exec Manager, do you actually know the answer to that?
Through the chair, we don't know who pays the rates because it just comes through as a payment from whoever, so we don't know.
Right.
All I can suggest, Councillor, is that, no, we'll proceed with this as it stands. That doesn't stop somebody coming back later and asking for...
Beg your pardon?
if you're thinking there's a case to be made, this is what I think you're thinking, for 100% in a particular situation,
Yes, I
but
have.
we don't know whether that situation
No,
exists.
we don't.
So my recommendation is we go ahead with this, and then if you wish at a later time, when we find out who pays it,
Can we perhaps put a proviso in the officer's recommendation, an amendment?
no, I was getting messy then.
It does, a little. However, let's see, it's on the fly, it's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything on the fly. Do you have an amendment?
Mr President, could you remind Councillor Madachi to turn her mic off?
To what?
Oh, turn
It's
it off.
on.
No, turn it off when you're not talking.
Well, we were talking.
Yeah.
He just asked.
Yeah, okay. I've dealt with it. Don't have an argument across the chamber. Yeah. Do you have? Do you wish to propose an amendment?
Yes, I'd like to, but I think the way it's written is going to be a little bit messy.
Okay, so do you wish to propose an amendment or not? And we can't wait all night.
No, I understand that, councillor. Yes, I'm going to propose that council approves a 50% rate concession for the 25-26 year for assessment A3020, 120A, C Stirling Terrace 2J, under section 6.47 of the Local Government Act, to St John's, yes, we don't even know, St John's WA, but makes an exemption if it is the local, if rates are held by the local sub-branch. That's all I can do.
Maria, did you get that? I think it needs tweaking, but I can see what you're getting at. So can I suggest approves a 50% rates exemption, blah, 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 if the rates are paid by St John it is, by the way, not St John's. If the rates are paid by St John WA, but a 100% concession No, just put, yeah, okay. If the rates are paid by the local St John sub-branch. The 2J? Yeah, by the 2J sub-branch. But it shouldn't be two sentences, Maria, it just put a but in there. And, no, make it a but. Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
Can I just make a comment that in the officer's report, it's a request from St John Ambulance Australia, not WA.
Okay. Oh, okay, well that changes it, okay. So, but this is, I think, what Councillor Madachi wants, okay? Is that what you're suggesting? Okay, so will you move that amendment? Councillor Madachi?
Yes, but I think the word "but" is wrong in the sentence. If the rates are paid by St John's WA,
It should be St John Australia.
St John Australia,
Yeah.
but yes, no, you're correct. I accept that. Thank you.
Can we make it St John, not St John's? Okay, so you're moving that?
Yes.
Okay. So can I just have clarity on who was actually applied, following on from Councillor Devell's comment, who has actually applied for this concession?
It was the sub-branch.
Okay, so we've got Councillor Madachi's amendment. We've got Councillor Madachi's move that, I'm taking it. Do I have a second of Councillor Madachi's amendment? Yeah, Councillor van der Heyden. Do I have any objections to Councillor Madachi's amendment? Okay, so I'll declare that carried. So now we have a substantive motion that incorporates that amendment. No, that was the amendment.
That's the amendment now.
I haven't got the motion yet. Yeah. So, and we've had the motion has been already moved by Councillor Devell and Councillor Madachi. So, do I have any objections to the amendment, to the motion as amended, now stated? Okay, I'll declare that carried. The next item on the agenda is item 10.2.2, request for rates exemption for A0917,
Mr. President.
A9017, 2JRSL. I assume these numbers we're given are the rates notice numbers.
Mr. President, he has her mic still on again.
Okay, thank you. So these numbers like A9017 are rates?
No, the rate assessment numbers.
Okay, so the rate assessment numbers. Okay, so the officer's recommendation is that council approves a rate exemption for property A9017, 7 Clinton Street 2JWA 6566 under section 6.262G of the Local Government Act, noting the charitable status and exclusive charitable use of the property. Do I have a mover? Councillor McCormick. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Devell. Do I have any objections? It's carried. Next item on the agenda is the list of payments for October 2025. The officer's recommendation is that council receives the list of accounts as presented and listed below for the month of September 2025. Municipal cheques, 1,417. EFT payments, 1,420,000. Payroll, 324,000. Credit cards, 4,500. And other, including direct debits, of 31,000 odd, for a total of $1,782,827.09. Do I have a mover? Do I have a mover for this officer's recommendation? Did you, Councillor Madachi? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Mills. Do I have any objections? Okay, thank you. Monthly financial statements, item 10.2.4. Monthly financial statements for September 2025. The officer's recommendation that council receives the monthly financial statements for September 2025 as attached as attachment 1. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor McCormick. A seconder? Councillor Prater. Do I have any objections? I declare that carried. Item 10.2.5, monthly financial statements for October 2025. The officer's recommendation is that council receives the monthly financial statements for October 2025, attachment 1. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Devell. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Prater. I declare that carried. 10.3.1, I'm going to propose that we leave this item to the end of the meetings because we need to go behind closed doors for that one, so we'll come back to that one. That's regarding the Australia Day Community Citizen of the Year Awards. So I'll move on to 10.4.1, attendance at events policy. The officer's recommendation is that council adopts the revised attendance at events policy, attachment 3, and requests the CEO to make any necessary minor typographical amendments to the policy prior to publication. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Van der Heyden, seconder. I think I saw Councillor Mills. Do I have any objections? I declare that carried. Item 10.4.2, page 49 if we're in the agenda. Continuing professional development policy. The officer's recommendation is that council adopts the revised continuing professional development policy attachment 3 and requests the CEO make any necessary minor typographical amendments to the policy prior to publication. Do I have a mover? Councillor Deval. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Prater. Do I have any objections? Councillor Madachi. Councillor Deval, do you wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Councillor Madachi, you wish to speak against?
Simply that there was a change made to the courses that were available under the policy that was not tracked and not made apparent to councillors, and it's been brought to the attention, but it's remained the same. The explanation given was this decision was made by the CEO. It was not a councillor decision.
Can you refresh our memory on what your question was? I may have it here, councillor. It's item 10.4.2. Yeah.
The question was, why was the Australian Institute of Company Directors removed in definitions and was also removed further down? And why was this change not highlighted? The question the answer was the second dot point of key changes outlined below stated the definition of professional development had been amended to remove one training provider from it, as the provider's course focuses mainly on boards for institutions that had a foundational corporate governance core instead of the environment where councillors operate in, being the local government core. The Australian Institute of Company Directors was removed from the definition of professional development support because its training programs primarily focus on corporate governance frameworks suited to board directors of institutions with foundational corporate structures. These do not align with the local government context in which councils operate, where governance responsibilities are defined by the Local Government Act and shaped by community-centred decision-making. The amendment ensures training relevance and alignment with sector-specific governance needs.
Okay, so what's your objection?
My objection is that as councillors, the opportunity arises, and some councillors now are actually sitting as local government representatives on boards. So therefore, the purpose of it is actually relevant to a councillor's position.
Okay. Is that the end of your debate?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak in favour? Councillor Deval, do you wish to use right of rebuttal?
Yes. The removal of that was brought to councillors' attention prior to the meeting, as Councillor Madachi has just read out. I'm actually quite satisfied and agree with the CEO's explanation of it, and it's not relevant to, in the context of local government, so I'm more than happy to support the continuing professional development policy as it is.
Thank you. So that being the case, I will put this matter to the vote. Those in favour of the officer's recommendation? Councillor McEwen, Councillor Prater, Councillor Mills, Councillor McCormick, Councillor Devell and Councillor van der Heyden. And those against? Councillor Madachi. Item 10.4.3, Legal Representation Costs Indemnification Policy. The officer's recommendation is that Council adopts the revised Legal Representation and Costs Indemnification Policy Attachment 3 and requests the CEO make any necessary minor typographical amendments to the policy prior to publication. Do I have a mover? Councillor van der Heyden, seconder, Councillor Devell. Do I have any objections? Declare that carried. Item 10.4.4, Retirement of a Policy Committee Recommendations. The officer's recommendation is that Council retires the committee recommendation policy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Devell. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Mills. Do I have any objections? Declare that carried. We have a revised officer's recommendation for item 10.5.1, Bridge 4085 2J West Road, Bridge Development and Replacement Project, which refers to Slaughterhouse Bridge. The revised officer's recommendation is that Council notes that Bridge 4085 2J West Road was required to be closed immediately with detours via Picnic Hill Road / 2J Bindi Bindi Road and via 2J West Road / Julimar Road. 2, Council approves the selection of option 1. Can we change that to, instead of calling it option 1, calling it the selection of a one-lane bridge, just to be clearer. So 2, approves the selection of a one-lane bridge as the preferred option for the bridge alignment of Bridge 4085. And 3, requests a further report to Council at the 50% design stage with updated cost estimate and clarification of alternative funding sources. And 4, request the CEO to request an urgent meeting with the Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Local Government seeking funding support, advising them of interim risks and detour arrangements for Bridge 4085. And the officers have given a reason is that option to variation from their original recommendation, that option 1 seeks to replace the bridge with a single lane bridge on the same location so that there is no need for road realignment, etc. So do I have a mover for this? Councillor Madachi. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Devell. Do I have any objections? Well, I'd like to propose an amendment to this. So where it says after the words one lane bridge, I would like to put with footpath, so that we approve the selection of one lane bridge with footpath as the preferred option. So I'll move that amendment. Do I have a seconder for the amendment? May I have a question first? You may.
Right at hand, I don't have the costs for the footpath addition. Does anybody have that to mind? They could just let me know before.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Do I have a seconder for the amendment?
Yeah.
Councillor Madachi. Do I have any objections to the amendment? I'll declare the amendment carried, and I'll now put the amended motion The amended motion will now read one-lane bridge with footpath. Do I have any objections? It's been moved and seconded, it's been amended. Do I have any objections to that particular motion now? It's okay, declare that carried. We have no committee reports. We have a notice of motion from Councillor Madachi, item 11.1. On page 66. Councillor Madachi, did you actually provide a notice of motion?
Yes, I did.
Would you like to move your notice of motion?
Yes, I will move that. It was submitted on the 6th of the 11th.
No, would you like to move it? Could you
Yes.
move it?
I've moved.
No, can you read it out and tell us what it is and move it?
No, certainly. I'd like to move that Council acknowledges the changes to local government representation in the Local Government Act of 1995, which took effect at the 2023 local government elections, causing 2 seats to become vacant at the Shire of 2J Council table, and endorses 1, the removal of the seat at the head of the table that backs the gallery from the elected member seating ballot, and 2, Councillor Madachi's designated seat at the head of the table being reallocated to the remaining unoccupied seat at the council table.
So you've moved that motion. Do I have a seconder for that? Oh, that fails for want of a seconder. That moves us on to item 11.2, request for financial support for continuing professional development. Thanks,
I'll
Councillor.
leave the room as over financial interest. Thanks.
Councillor Madachi is leaving the room at 6:17. And there's an officer's recommendation regarding this matter on page 73. The officer's recommendation is that council does not approve the request from Councillor Madachi of financial support to undertake the AICD Company Directors course. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Prater. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Mills. Do I have any objection to the officer's recommendation? I'll declare that carried. Councillor Madachi is re-entering at 6:18. I hope somebody checked the time when council left. Yeah, thank you. We just need to go back to the Australia Day Awards, which was item 10.3.1 on page 39. And I'm going to suggest that we move behind closed door in accordance with section 523(2)(b) of the Act, because the matter deals with the personal affairs of a person, in this case persons. So do I have a mover to move behind closed doors? Councillor Prater. Do I have a seconder? Councillor van der Heyden. So any objections to moving behind closed doors? Thank you. I think at this stage, hang on, I've lost it. Sorry for the delay. I closed the agenda inadvertently. I'll read out the resolution that was passed behind closed doors, but it's particularly uninformative. But the resolution was that Council, having considered the nominations for the 2026 Australia Day WA Community Citizen of the Year Awards, selects nominee C as the recipient for the 2026 Community Citizen of the Year, selects nominee D as the recipient for the 2026 Youth Community Citizen of the Year, and 3, selects nominee A as the recipient for the 2026 Senior Community Citizen of the Year, And 4, selects nominee B as the recipient for the 2026 Active Citizenship Group event. The motion was moved by Councillor Lavelle, seconded by Councillor Prater, and carried unanimously. And the nominees will actually be named at the Australia Day event on Australia Day. We have no questions from members, no new business of an urgent nature. The next meetings coming up are the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee on the 4th of December, the agenda briefing on the 11th of December, and the ordinary council meeting on the 18th of December. And that being the case, I close the meeting at 6:25.